Most of us have always thought that brakes are for slowing down, didn't we? Well, it's not just for that, or at least in Formula 1, brakes aren't just for slowing down at all. And it's insane how well they do it. They do it in the nick of time. So without further ado, let's see how F1 drivers manage to apply brakes so late. Formula 1 cars have really fancy brakes that help them slow down during races. Regular drivers might not be as skilled because braking is challenging, especially when driving a fast car. Understanding how brakes work in cars involves a crucial concept called brake balance. This is important for both regular road cars and race cars because it affects how well a car can slow down and navigate turns. When the driver presses the brake pedal, they face a lot of pressure, up to 6 times the force of gravity. It also sends force to master cylinders. One cylinder is for the front brakes and the other is for the rear brakes. This force goes through brake lines to the brake discs, making the car slow down. Imagine you're driving and you press the brake pedal. What happens is that the brake system uses fluid to create pressure in the brake calipers, producing something called braking torque. Now, here's the tricky part. It's really important to send the right amount of this braking force to both the front and rear wheels. If that isn't done correctly, you might run into some issues. Brake balance is like finding the perfect middle ground for braking. If too much braking force goes to the front wheels, it can cause a problem called understeer. This is when the car doesn't want to turn as much as you're trying to steer it. It's like the car is pushing forward despite your efforts to make a turn. On the flip side, if you have too much braking at the rear wheels, you might encounter an oversteer. This is when the car turns more than you want it to, almost like it's trying to spin around. So, why is this balance so crucial? Well, finding the right braking balance helps a car achieve the best possible braking performance. It's not just about slowing down, it's about doing it in a way that keeps the car stable and easy to handle. Imagine trying to stop quickly at a traffic light. You wouldn't want your car to feel like it's resisting your steering, making it hard to stay in control, right? Brake balance is what helps prevent these kind of problems. Regular cars have a system that multiplies the brake force, but in F1, the driver has to use a lot of force. They rely on their body weight and the car's speed to press the brake pedal hard. This can be tough because they feel strong forces. What's even crazier is that they push the brake pedal at around 150 kilograms of force, which is double their body weight. As drivers brake and enter the corner, the pressure they apply to the brake pedal must be incredibly precise. Small variations in pressure, even just tens of grams, can determine whether the car takes the corner smoothly or skids off the track. This level of precision comes from years of experience in lower level racing, like karts and single-seaters. The brake discs on a Formula 1 car can get super hot, up to 1000 degrees Celsius, especially during hard braking. The discs have holes to make sure they're more effective, but keeping them at the right temperature is tricky. If they get too hot, the brakes might not work well, and if they're too cold, the brakes won't bite as they should. Keeping them cool is done with airflow using brake ducts. And because drivers face really strong forces, up to 5 times the Earth's gravity when braking hard, getting the balance right between front and rear brakes is crucial for slowing down quickly. Drivers can adjust this balance while driving. F1 cars can brake really hard. This is possible because of the special tires, powerful brakes, and the aerodynamic design of the car. Aerodynamics means the car gets pushed down into the ground, giving more grip for braking. In racing schools, they teach a specific way to brake. Only brake in a straight line, slow down while in a straight line, then release the brake to turn the corner. However, this method, while safer for beginners, creates understeer, reducing the grip at the front of the car. Professionals use a technique called trail braking, which is a bit risky and tricky. It's not always taught in racing schools since mastering it requires extra time and skill to avoid spinning. In trail braking, you maintain some brake pressure deep into the corner, which means the front tires firmly press onto the track, giving you better grip. This technique helps handle the weight transfer as you navigate the corner, making the grip more predictable. Yet, it's important to be cautious with trail braking. If you stay on on the brakes for too long, you might put too much pressure on the front tires, causing more grip at the front than the rear. This imbalance can result in a spinning when you're trying to turn. Finding the right balance is key for effective and safe trail braking. In F1, drivers have special tools to control how their car brakes and turns into a corner. They can tweak things like brake bias, which determines how much braking force goes into the front or rear, adjust brake migration during braking, and play with differential settings. These adjustments allow them to make the car behave just the way they want it to. A major factor that sets F1 cars apart is downforce. When the drivers initially apply the brakes, there is a lot of downforce, providing a good grip on the track. But as the car slows down, the aerodynamic grip decreases. So, the challenge for drivers is to brake in a way that matches these changing levels of downforce and grip. It's a delicate move to ensure the car responds exactly how it needs to, especially considering the incredible speeds involved in Formula 1 racing. In the world of F1 racing, braking is a critical aspect that drivers and teams need to manage carefully. Unlike many regular road cars equipped with anti-lock braking systems, or ABS, to prevent wheel lockup, F1 cars don't use ABS. This means drivers must pay special attention to brake balance for optimal performance. Formula 1 cars come with challenges beyond just having a fixed brake balance. They boast incredibly grippy tires and downforce, which enhances the force pressing the tires onto the track. This additional grip enables F1 cars to brake harder, accelerate faster, and handle corners at high speeds. Formula 1 teams use brake balance maps, which are predefined settings that drivers can choose during a race. These maps have three main features: the brake balance at peak brake pressure, the knee point where brake pressure and speeds shift rearwards, and the migration level, determining how much the brake balance shifts as the driver releases the brakes. These brake maps, combined with offset adjustments, give drivers remarkable flexibility. They can fine-tune not only their straight line braking, but also influence how the car handles as they ease off the brakes into a corner. This adaptability is crucial for dealing with factors like tire degradation and changing track conditions during a race. To achieve dynamic brake balance, F1 cars use a rear axle brake-by-wire system. This means the rear brakes operate independently of the front brakes. When a driver applies the brakes, the system specifies demand on the front axle, using the predefined brake balance maps to set a target for the rear axle. This system prioritizes energy recovery through the Motor Generator Unit Kinetic, or MGUK, a device that recovers energy by braking with an electrical motor on the rear axle. It also considers engine braking to avoid wasting fuel when the throttles are closed. Finally, the rear brakes are applied to reach the target brake balance. Braking into the first corner of a race is tricky. The brakes might be cold because the car has been sitting on the starting grid. The driver has to guess how hard to push the brake pedal. Too soft and they lose time. Too hard and the brakes lock up. Some tracks like Monaco and Baku make it tough on the brakes. Monaco has a lot of slow corners and the brakes keep getting hotter. Baku has both slow and fast parts, making it challenging to cool the brakes properly. Making sure the brakes work well is a crucial team effort. Engineers decide on the setup and drivers need to know how to handle the brakes during the race. It's a balance between going fast and slowing down at the right moments. And that's how fast cars do things that fast cars do. Don't you find the way they brake so complex? Complex yet fascinating. And that's it for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell for more. Until next time.